Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Echo Aftab. In my last video in the series of Mathematics for Economics, we understood what do you mean by functions. Today we'll move ahead to understand one simple example of how the mathematical term function is related to an economics concept of production. And here I bring to you Cobb-Douglas production function. In the picture you can see Cobb and Douglas. Myself, Aftab Bhai. So let us move ahead and understand what this Cobb-Douglas production function is. Before that, let us see the introduction of Cobb-Douglas production function. The Cobb-Douglas production function is based on the empirical study. What do you mean by empirical study? Actually, Cobb and Douglas have studied the American manufacturing industry and they came up with this production function. So Cobb-Douglas production function is based on the empirical study of the American manufacturing industry made by Paul H. Douglas and C. W. Cobb. Now, who is this Paul Douglas and C. W. Cobb? Paul Howard Douglas was an American politician and a geologist economist, and Charles Cobb was an American mathematician and economist. Friends, just to tell you the beginning of this production function, Paul Douglas, he was the first to formulate the Cobb-Douglas production function developed in 1927. What he wanted to do, he calculated the real estimates for workers and capital in America, and he asked his friend Charles Cobb with regard to mathematical form of it, or you can say functional form to this estimates. So it was Charles Cobb who suggested him the production function in the form of y is equal to a into L raised to alpha into k raised to beta. Previously, this was used by Wicksell, Wicksteed and Walras, and Douglas has acknowledged all of them with regard to this production function. But it became more popular as Douglas and Cobb's or Cobb-Douglas production function. Now, what is this Cobb-Douglas production function? The Cobb-Douglas production function is expressed as Q is equal to A into L raised to A alpha into C raised to beta. So there are different ways of writing this production function. In few books we can see this production function is written as Q is equal to A into L raised to alpha into C raised to alpha minus 1. Okay, in few books it is written as A into L raised to A, C raised to B, or A into L raised to alpha into C raised to beta. These are the different nomenclatures of alpha, beta, A, B with regard to the same production function, that is Cobb-Douglas production function. Here in this function, Q is output, L is inputs of labor, C is inputs of capital, and the most important part, A, alpha and beta are positive parameters. That is, alpha should be more than 0 and beta should be more than 0 and A should be more than 0. So A is more than 0 and B is more than 0. The equation tells that output depends directly on labor and capital. What is this equation telling us? So Cobb-Douglas production function, here quantity is a function of labor and capital, and if the labor and capital is increased, quantity also increased. So this increase in inputs leading to increase in output shows the direct relationship between inputs and output. The next is the part of output which cannot be explained by labor and capital is explained by A, which is the residual, also called as technical change. So this A normally it doesn't change, it is the constant. And what is constant over a period of time? It is the technology. So technical change, if at all L and K are unable to explain the output, if there is some fractional change and the equality is not there, this can be explained as the residual, and that the reason for that is technical change, or you can say technology. The production function solved by Cobb-Douglas had 3/4 contribution of labor and 1/4 contribution of capital to the increase in manufacturing industry. What it is trying to say? The labor contribution in output was by 75% and the contribution of capital in the output was by 25%, and they came up with this percentage contribution of labor and capital, or you can say output elasticities of labor and capital, by empirical study, actually by taking the statistical data of American manufacturing industry. They came up with this particular parameters alpha and beta, where alpha was 3/4 and beta was 1 minus 3/4, that is 1/4. So this was the Charles Cobb-Douglas production function, where alpha is 3/4 and beta is 1/4. Now we'll try to analyze this thing mathematically. So if I say Q is equal to A into L raised to 3/4 and C raised to 1/4, friends, I would like to say that when you add up this parameters, the total of the values of L and C is equal to 1. How is it equal to 1? Here 3/4 plus 1/4 is equal to 1. So here, or else I can say alpha plus beta is equal to 1. For this particular purpose, friends, I would suggest you all to please see my video on rules of exponents, the link of which is on top corner, right hand corner. Please see this video so that you will come to know why 3/4 and 1/4, when we add them, it becomes to 1. It comes under rules of exponents. Moving ahead, the coefficient of labor, that is alpha, is the percentage increase in output that would result from a 1% increase in labor while holding capital as constant. What does this line says? It is telling us that if labor is increased, by 1%, output will increase by what percentage? That is what is this A string. So if there is 1% increase in labor, it will lead to alpha increase in output, or it will lead to 0.75% increase in output. This is what is this alpha or 3/4 is telling, and for this you need to hold C as constant. On the other hand, similarly, the coefficient of capital, that is beta, is a percentage increase in output that would result from a 1% increase in capital while holding labor as constant. So both these lines are telling us that if you held any one of the factor of production constant, how much the output will increase with 1% increase in the input. Moving ahead, I have taken a more simplified Cobb-Douglas production function where the parameters are same. So if I say quantity is equal to A into L raised to half into C raised to half. So what is this L raised to half into C raised to half? I can say this as L raised to 0.5 into C raised to 0.5. I would like to say with regard to the rules of exponents, half, it can also be written in decimals. This is fractions, this is decimals, 0.5. Or else if I say if I say L raised to alpha, that is L raised to half, it is same as L raised to 0.5, or I can say L raised to half, it is same as square root of L. So both these things implies the same thing. So or else I can say L raised to 0.5 is same as L raised to half, which is same as square root of L. These are the different ways of telling the same thing. Now let us see some calculation part of Cope-Douglas production function. So I have taken a table where on x-axis I am taking up labor and on y-axis I am taking up capital. So when labor and capital is 0, the output is 0 obviously. If I increase the input of labor and capital in the same proportion, that is 100 units of labor and 100 units of capital. So in this situation, what will happen to the output? So I would like to say Q is equal to 100 raised to 0.5 multiplied by 100 raised to 0.5. So this is 100 raised to 0.5 is 10 and 100 raised to 0.5 is 10. So 10 into 10 is 100. Or else I can also say that Q is equal to square root of 100 multiplied by square root of 100. So square root of 100 is 10 multiplied by 10. This is equal to 100. So you can see in the table with 100 units of capital and 100 units of labor, our output is also 100 units. Further, if I increase the inputs in the same proportion, that is if I double the inputs from 100 units of labor and capital to 200 units of labor and capital. So now what will happen to the output? The output will be Q is equal to 200 raised to 0.5 multiplied by 200 raised to 0.5. So 200 raised to 0.5 in calculator, how do you calculate it? So in calculator there will be an option by y raised to x. Normally we find this option in scientific calculators, not in normal calculators. So what I need to do is I need to type 200, then y raised to x I need to type, and after that 0.5. So when I do this, what do I get? So 200 y raised to x into, sorry, not into, y raised to x 0.5, that will be equal to 14.14. So this is 14.14. Similarly, here also it is the same number, so into 14.14. When I multiplied 14.14 with 14.14, I get 199.9. I get 199.9 output. So this is approximately very close to 200. So this is what is happening. So if the labor and capital is increased in the same proportion, the output will also increase in the same proportion. Further, if the amount of capital is more and the labor is less, you can see the output has increased more proportionately. It may be more of labor, same capital, or more of labor, more of capital and same labor. In either of the cases, the output has increased more proportionately. Again, if I increase the inputs, labor and capital in the same proportion, from 200 I'll make it 300. You can see the output has become 300. So here again what you need to do is take up your calculator. Q is equal to 300 raised to 0.5 into 300 raised to 0.5. So how to type it in the calculator? You can say 300, type it, then y raised to x, y raised to x, after that type 0.5. So this will be 17.3, 17.32, same 17.32. So when I multiply 17.32 into 17.32, what do I get is 299.99. This is what, very close to 300, almost 300. Again, if the amount of capital is more and labor is less, and if the amount of labor is more and capital is less, then the output will be increasing more proportionately. Again, very quickly you can see, if labor and capital inputs are increased to 400, the output will be 400. If either of the inputs are increasing unproportionately, then the output will be increased more proportionately. So this is how. Now at last, let us see, if our labor and capital are increased by 500 units, the output is also increased to 500 units. So I want you to just use a scientific calculator and try to find out what will happen if capital is 500 units and labor is 400 units. What will be the output? And if capital is 400 units and labor is 500 units, what will happen to output? This is what I want you to find out. Find out this box and this box, and try to see if capital is 600 units and labor is 500 units, whether you will get, what you will get over here, whether you will get 600 or something very close to 599.9 something. So you have to get this thing, because we are telling that Cobb-Douglas production function is a linearly homogeneous production function. Here I had taken the example of parameters as half. Now coming to the original form of Cobb-Douglas production function, where the parameter of L is 33/4 and of C it is 1/4. And this 3/4 and 1/4 are also called as, friends, just for your information, they are also called as output elasticities. They are also called as output elasticities. Same form of table. If I say labor and capital, 0 labor, 0 capital is 0 output. If I take 100 units of labor and 100 units of capital, what will be the output? So here Q is equal to 100 raised to 3/4, that is 0.75, multiplied by 100 raised to 1/4, that is 0.25. What is 100 raised to 0.75? As I told you, in your scientific calculator type 100 y raised to x, then 0.75. See what you will get. 100 y raised to x 0.75, that is equal to 31.62. Then what is 100 raised to 0.25? 100 y raised to x 0.25, that is equal to 3.162. Now when you multiply 31.62 into 3.162, you will get 99.99 output. 99.99. So 99.99, it is as good as 100. So labor has increased by 100 units, capital has been increased by 100 units, the output has also been increased by 100 units. Again, if you increase the labor and capital in the same proportion, 200 units of labor and 200 units of capital, you are going to get output which is in the same proportion, that is 200 units, 199.9. if capital is more and labor is less, the output is in more proportion. So if you move ahead in the same way, so you can see the labor input and capital is leading to increase in output in the same proportion. 400 units of labor, 400 units of capital is leading to 400 units of output. And lastly, 500 units of labor and 500 units of capital is leading to 500 units of output. So this is what is for Cobb-Douglas production function that we have seen. Again, I have left the two columns blank. So please try to find out what the values may be, and if I take 600 units of capital and 600 units of labor, whether this will be 599.9 or no. So this is about the mathematics behind Cobb-Douglas production function. Moving ahead, Q is equal to A into L raised to alpha into C raised to beta. So here the total of the values of alpha and beta, if it is equal to, if alpha plus beta, if it is equal to 1, we say constant returns to scale. And if alpha plus beta is more than 1, we say increasing returns to scale. And if alpha plus beta is less than 1, we say decreasing returns to scale. So here constant returns to scale matlab percentage increase in output is same as percentage increase in input. So this similarity is what is telling us constant returns to scale. On the other hand, if percentage increase in output is more than percentage increase in input, then we say it is increasing returns to scale. That is, let us say output has increased by 100% and input has increased by 100% and output has increased by 110%. This is a case of increasing returns to scale. On the other hand, if percentage increase in output is less than percentage increase in input, then we say it is decreasing returns to scale. What is the example? If input has increased by 100% and output has increased only by 90%, so this becomes decreasing returns to scale. So in all this situation, if the parameters, if the coefficients of labor and capital, if you add them up and if they are equal to 1, means they are increasing in the same proportion, output and input. If it is more than 1, the returns to scale is increasing. If it is less to 1, it is decreasing returns to scale. All these things, constant returns, decreasing returns, these are all pure economic theories that we'll be studying in our microeconomics. But as of now, I'm just trying to correlate three things. I told you all about functions in a mathematical form. I'm making use of that particular mathematics background to understand one of the most important and very widely used production function of economics, Cobb-Douglas production function, but very nicely neglected by most of the students of economics. Now moving ahead, Cobb-Douglas production function is linearly homogeneous production function of degree 1. What does it mean? The linear homogeneous production function implies that with the proportionate change in all the factors of production, the output also increases in the same proportion. So what does it mean? Here I would like to highlight the word proportionate. What is this, the word proportionate telling us? It is telling us that, as you saw in the table, labor and capital, they are increased in the same proportion. That is what is proportionate change. 100 units of labor, 100 units of capital. It can be something like this. Labor and capital. I can say 100 units of labor, 100 units of capital. Then next 200 units of labor, 200 units of capital. Or also I can also say, if labor and capital, I am making use of 100 units of labor and 50 units of capital, double it. This becomes 200, this becomes 100. So in both the cases, the increase in the inputs, labor and capital, is in the same proportion, and that is what is called as proportionate change. or you can say if the input factors are doubled, the output also gets doubled, and this is also known as constant returns to scale. So whatever is there in this slide, I already discussed in the previous slides, either in the form of table or telling you about what is constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, and decreasing returns to scale. Now moving ahead, the production function is said to be homogeneous when the elasticity of substitution is equal to 1. Now comes the question, Are Baba, what is this elasticity of substitution? Question mark. ये क्या नया आ गया? Don't worry friends, elasticity of substitution will be our next topic to be covered. So in my next class, I will come up with constant elasticity of substitution production function. Constant elasticity of substitution. So till then, till my next class, please take care. And once again, thanks for watching Understanding Economics with Professor Aftab. Stay tuned with my channel Echo Aftab. Please like it, please subscribe it. Okay. So see you soon. Till then, tata, bye bye.